Randy Chitwood, John Ketcher, Steve Smith present. Discuss possible approval of the minutes of October 26, 2021. Here, motion.
Second?
Call for vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Ketcher.
Yes.
And we do have a petition from the audience. Miss Jenny LaFarve,
That's me.
come bring your presentation.
Yep. I mean, sort of presentation. I'm kind of just talking to you guys. But, so as you know, we're doing our streetscape plan. That's something that's been out there. We've been trying to push through Pryor Main Street, and obviously we're trying to get funding through grants. That way it's, you know, grants. That's kind of self-explanatory. Well, one that we're working with Hope, and the city of Pryor too, that we're doing is a T-set grant that we have a really great shot at. And that's where I'm approaching here. It's a 1-to-1 matching grant, and our matching portion, part of it can be in-kind services, but also part of it can come from a source of funding, fundraising. So the fundraising part, an idea that we had was brick pavers. And so essentially, you'll see them in your packets too. What it is those pavers, people could purchase them from the community. They could purchase one, they could purchase multiple. We've already had it laid out from a company that would basically do the marketing for us, and we would be able to sell those to be able to get the funding portion of our 1-to-1 matching. So this is requesting that you guys would kind of give me the go-ahead to present this to council with your blessing to do the brick pavers on the areas that in the photos you see that are circled in red. So it's not anything anyone would be driving on. Those, we could get those that people would drive on, but it's a lot more expensive, plus the upkeep's kind of more iffy. So these would be ones essentially in the corners of phase 1 to help fund that. So this is where we kind of stand with it. So I'm here for questions.
So those areas, would that be enough bricks to raise that kind of money?
We could literally extend it throughout the whole entire thing. So the way that we would promote it would be, I mean, we're not gonna turn anyone down. So we would sell as many as we can and fill up all of those areas, which, believe it or not, there's a ton of room just in those areas. But that whole thing also extends down kind of farther than the photo shows. But this is a visual of what phase 1 area would be, and then it could do other phases as well. So, and we'd be clear in marketing that it might not necessarily be in those corners, but it's a start.
Cool.
Okay.
Sidewalk corners, okay.
And two, if, obviously this is like a grant thing. So if we were for whatever reason, you know, we didn't get the grant, we would want to be sure that we could use these bricks somewhere else, but that could be anything in the downtown streetscape plan. But we're gonna use this for that portion, whether it's the T-set grant or the TAP grant or whatever grant follows after that. So we'd be clear on that in there. But that's all I have. If you guys have any questions.
Mayor, you got some input?
Yeah,
Yes.
come on up. Yes.
Yes, I didn't put that on as an agenda item. It didn't seem to be anything that necessarily needed to be approved, because our codes and, they don't prohibit using those kind of things. But I thought as a point of information, it was important to share that with street committee.
Going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's an item that they're able to use to raise money. So there are 2 grants that, did you tell them that?
Yeah, I gave them a little bit of both.
Okay, so
Yep.
there are 2 grants, and as a matching grant, that would be a way that would count toward the matching part of that particular grant. So I thought it was a good idea, and also I've seen that done in other towns, in places like parks and places on sidewalks on Main Street, in other towns. So this is not unique, but
That could even, the photo that you showed me before the meeting, you know, that's something that we could do there too. So there's plenty of opportunity if someone wanted to do that. It's just being transparent with our plans for that, funding for that too. That way you're not caught off guard if you see some names on a sidewalk.
and if we do that, We might want to see John Ketcher's name on a sign.
Yeah.
Or Steve Smith's, or Randy Chitwood's, or even Steve Powell's name on the sidewalk. Who knows?
Yeah, we could have our own.
You know, Cherokee Nation
Mhm.
did the bricks for the, veterans.
Mhm.
You might have a section, if you did a small section for the veterans, when they're all together.
It's a good idea.
Mhm.
It's a good idea.
So we'll take that to council then, I guess. But just wanted to give you guys that. And if you have any other questions, let me know. Or any other fundraising ideas, we're open to them. So you know where I am. You know how to get hold of me. So
Well, you know,
where to find you.
they used to do pancake breakfast and stuff to raise money.
Yep.
Listen,
I don't know
I'm
how
not
good that kitchen is anymore at the
above him. Yeah, I'm not
at Graham.
anti anything.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
We're excited.
You could have us flipping pancakes and serving it.
Is that on the record? Because we can do that for sure.
Other than, from the last council meeting, I have no updates for the street department itself, other than they're still sucking up leaves, I'll imagine, cleaning out ditches, doing a little tree trimming.
Like, tell the street committee, if you haven't been informed, Buddy's mother passed away unexpectedly
Oh,
this
man,
morning.
we didn't hear that one.
Yeah, this
I
morning.
knew he was sick and
So,
wasn't feeling good.
I told him, do what you need to do. We can handle these things at street committee tonight.
Well, we thought maybe Bobby was gonna be here,
He said he might be, so,
so.
anyway.
So, no street department. Number 5, discuss possible recommend council action regarding spot repairs to the city streets. Dunham Asphalt has provided detailed cost estimate of spot repairs due to utility connections, potholes, heavy turning traffic, base failures throughout the city. And so,
Let me,
Steve,
a little history, but this item,
Go
I
ahead,
think I think this item we need to table because I have not received from Dunham the written estimate for the proposed work. But just as a background, a little bit, about a week and a half ago, Buddy and I and a representative from Dunham Asphalt went out and looked at all around the city at the various, not potholes, but they're actually construction locations where MUB has put in water lines or sewer lines, or the city has had some failures of the roadways on the edges beyond those which were done under the street repair project. And many months ago, we have tried this a couple of times now with different contractors to go out and make these repairs citywide to try to bring all those construction or defect areas up to speed. And we spent about 3 hours, I think, going over all the places in the city that have these spots and expanded the list quite a bit from what we had done originally. And one of the good things that came out of that was we got a really good chance to look at some of the areas that we were proposing to look at either this year or next year under our street rehab projects. For instance, the area in front of the high school on 9th Street, where we've had several places where the roadways have just continued to deteriorate. And one of the reasons we're seeing expedited deterioration there is because of the bus barn had been relocated now out on East 9th Street, and so we're seeing that much heavier day-to-day traffic in those areas. So some of the areas that we were seeing the beginnings of base failures now are progressing quite quickly. But in that regard, we didn't want to just haphazardly or wholeheartedly establish a whole new rehab plan. So what I asked them to do, and this is probably why I haven't gotten it yet, is to give me costs on each segment so that we can kind of pick and choose those that have been kind of a harassing problem for the city areas. One area that comes to mind is on Northeast First Street, out by the bowling alley, Northeast First Street there by the old Sonic. Those are construction potholes or construction areas that they put temporary patch in because they've just been there so long. We want to go ahead and fix those permanently and get those done. But it did give us an opportunity to look at these more chronic areas that we're seeing on like 9th Street. South Van is one where that roadway was repaved many years, 4 or 5 years ago. And it's held up pretty well in all reality, but it's beginning to show some problem areas. We had some spot repairs done a couple of years ago around 6th or 7th Street, I think. We're seeing some other areas beginning to pop up there. So we've identified those, but we're not necessarily saying we want to just do this whole laundry list. We want to take a look at these ones that are currently being patched with gravel right now. That's the way we're attacking those problems. We want to get rid of all those that we've got out there now. And I haven't got those numbers yet, so what I'd like to do is just kind of table that unless the board would like to talk more about some specific other areas.
Okay. I would suggest that we just take no action at this time. That way you'll have plenty of time to come up with the numbers. Instead of a month, it might take you longer. So I'd like to make the motion of no action on this item, number 5.
Second.
Call for vote.
All right, Jitwood,
Yes.
Pitcher,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. All right. Number 6, discuss possible recommend council action regarding budgeting for 2 new dump trucks in the year 2022-2023 fiscal year. Mary, you have anything to present for this for us? I'm assuming this has been already kind of pre-approved or talked about?
I have talked about it with Buddy, but we have not talked about any numbers. What we'd like to do is we'd like to go ahead and build that into the budget for next fiscal year. And I'm sure what Buddy is doing is bringing that in front of street committee just to give, I guess, give you
Kind
a
of
warning.
a heads up.
Give you a warning, yeah. So I'm not sure that really action would need to be taken on that. But I think it's important that we keep all of our equipment up to speed and up to date so that it's safe and so that it does what we feel like that it needs to do. So we are in need of, I know of at least one new dump truck. I'm not sure about the other one. But this is what his request is. And so when a department head comes and says, this is what I'd like to try to do, then I try to accommodate that, try to build that into next year's budget.
So maybe an action would be to forward this to the budget committee and
Sure, forward it to the budget committee would be fine. And we haven't started compiling any numbers. One of the reasons he's doing this so quickly is because there's such a long lead time.
yeah,
So,
like the fire trucks.
yeah, so we may be able to, he may already have some numbers that he is working with. They may be state contract numbers, whatever they might be. And so it might be that we agree to purchase and agree to purchase in next fiscal year, but ordering them now, or ordering them within the next month so that we can be in line to be able to get the equipment and be able to protect ourselves on price. So those are the reasons why he's got that as an agenda item.
Thank you,
Yes.
thank you. So, as my recommendation, I'd like to forward this to the budget committee so they could at least start looking at it.
Motion?
Second.
Call for vote.
Pitcher,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Jitwood.
Yes.
Any unforeseen business?
Well, I want to touch on what you're talking about with the buses, bus barn being moved and that failure of that road. Is there a way, maybe when the time comes, we can reinforce that section with rebar?
The long-term plan, and we had a plan for actually taking all of that roadway from there by the fire station all the way west to Oklahoma, and taking the asphalt out and going with concrete for specifically that reason. We believe that reinforced concrete with that kind of heavy traffic would stand up better than before. We've taken some steps in that regard in the driveways going into the high school across, I think, two of the 4 driveways that now go into the high school, we have now paved across those on that outer lane with concrete, just for that reason, because of the turning traffic and the higher rate. So, yes, the answer to that question is, we'd like to go with concrete. The problem with concrete is, you know, the expense of that. I think we had a budget number, Mayor, maybe you can help me out here. I believe the dollar value we had for changing all of that roadway to concrete, essentially out to the city limits line. It wouldn't go all the way to the barn, but it would go there to Oklahoma Street. I believe that number was just under $2 million.
That's what I remember, Steve. Also, I remember having a conversation that, after the school construction, the school might help us with that. And so, as I pursued that, found out, well, it's not within the school's parameters, to build roads or to assist the city with building roads. So, I didn't want that discussion really to come up. But, as we're talking about that, part of the reason why the roads, have kind of crumbled over the last few years is because of all the construction on those roads, and we realize that. I think that what I remember is about $1.7 million.
I would, if I were to twist my arm like yours, I'd probably agree with that too.
Thank you. Anything else?
I don't know, can we charge them a usage tax?
Toll gate.
I think what we should do is
Morning.
be thankful, for everything that our school system is doing for our community. And that places them in a position to help if they can. But I think we need to be thankful and, for everything that they've done. I think they've done a wonderful job for our students.
But since they can't, help build a road, that would be a way of them helping.
Build a football field out there, we'll have even more traffic.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
Nope. Make a motion.
Make a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Call for vote.
Let's see, who we want to start with this time? Smith,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Pitcher.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a good